Welcome, everyone. It's another episode of Play the Kids. We are sponsored by Roughneck Scarves, and we are a part of the Beautiful Game Network. I am Kevin McCamish of Stumptown Footy and the USL Show, and with me, as always, is Joshua Duder. How you doing, Josh?
Doing good, Kev.
All right. Don't forget to check out our new website, playthekids.com. You can find all the subscription information you need, whether you want to subscribe via iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, all that good stuff. Check it out, playthekids.com. Right into the news today. Just wanted to do a really quick revisit, remind everybody that FC St. Pauli is visiting Portland on May 22nd, and we'll probably bring it up every single episode until then because it's exciting. And if I happen to disappear for like a few seconds, it's probably because I'm eating my microphone so I don't cough on the air.
Those mics are tasty. When do tickets go on sale for that St. Pauli match?
I don't know, but if I had to guess, I would say April.
Okay.
Just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, it seems like, if I remember right, the news release had mentioned April, but I'm not sure, so don't take me on that. But look for those tickets. They'll be very well priced. I would expect it to be a very popular match, and a portion of those proceeds will go to the IRCO. So, other news: T2, they opened up 2018, played the first match. It was a loss. However, even though the result did not go our way, the game was uplifting, if that's the word I want to use. Just like I said, despite the result, I was actually very pleased with the match. Surprisingly enough, it was a 2-1 loss at Tacoma. S2 have now moved to Tacoma. They played at Cheney Stadium, whatever it was. It's a baseball field. Which it looked like it was okay. They had 6,000, I think, 49 people in attendance, which is high for anywhere in USL, let alone an MLS2 side.
Right.
So it seems like at one game in at their new home stadium that they're going to find some success there, at least on the business side. Now, any away match is always going to be difficult. I mean, that's why home teams have home field advantage. So historically speaking, excuse me. So historically speaking, going T2 going to S2, they almost never get a result. It is a brand new squad, brand new coach. There's adjustments. So when I picked on the USL show, when I picked my, who would win and what the scoreline would be for all the different games, when it came down to T2 and S2, I wanted to pick a T2 win. I even want to be like, man, they could probably get a draw. But unfortunately, fortunately, I went with my head and not my heart and got a perfect result on that and got maximum points from our team by predicting a 2-1 Seattle win. But it really, if you watch the first half, you wouldn't think it was going to be that way. The first 40 minutes of the first half, the entire game from kickoff to the 40th minute, it was all T2. It was pretty spectacular. I was on Twitter going like 18th minute. I'm like, is T2 like hell bent on attempting to get me to have some hope this season? I mean, they're playing well. They're playing like an actual team. The passing is not, all over the place. They're actually, getting most of their passes in. They're producing chances. I think maybe S2 had one single chance that really was more of a half chance throughout that entire first half up to the 40th minute, to be clear. And T2 had multiple chances, and one which they put away in the 30th minute, which was actually a really nice one. Jimmy Mulligan, who was very, very active, and we can probably talk about him a little bit later, up the right side. It looks like he was playing a right back. He got way, way up in the attack. Always is getting up in the attack, always back to defend. Seems like the guy really is a very strong workhorse. Put a cross in, went past the Sounders defender. The keeper put his hands out like he was going to catch it, but it just kind of went through his hands. And he was like, wait, I didn't I didn't touch the ball. And then Augustine Williams was back there and be like, all right, I'll tap it in into an empty net for my first goal and first goal of the T2 season. So I'm sure he would love more of those. It was as easy can be. And T2 were up 1-0 in the 30th minute. And I was like, wow, this could actually happen. You know, we could actually spoil their little home opener. But akin to, you know, the USL level of play, and maybe it's just some bad luck or boogeymen with having T2 being in Seattle, and something happens. Something happens over a period of 2, 3, 4 minutes. Jimmy Mulligan, as active as he was also very active in the defensive end. Took out a player towards the edge of the box, but it was inside the box. It was absolutely a foul. So it was a very easy, stone cold penalty call. And TS2 converted the PK and tied it up, I think, in the 41st minute or 42nd minute or something like that. Just before halftime. And then you're going thinking, well, darn it, you know, that's unfortunate, but maybe we'll make it to halftime at 1-1, and we'll see what we can do in the second half. However, unfortunately, 60 to 90 seconds later, 2 minutes on the shot clock, it was their one of their midfielders or their forwards or somebody, Nicholas Hines, and he I don't know, decided to play good for all of 30 seconds. And he was able to get through some players, chip the keeper, our keeper, Alex Mangels, and put the ball in the top corner of the net, and put S2 up 2-1 right before the half. It was very unfortunate. And seriously, like, out of 90 minutes of game time, the only time that S2 played well was like those 5 minutes.
And that was it.
And that's all it took. That's all it took. They got their 2 goals, and then they held us off for the rest of the second half.
Yeah.
Then the second half, S2 did play better overall, but T2 was still the dominant team for most of the second half. I would say for a good 30 minutes of that second half, T2 were easily the most dominant team, particularly towards the end of the second half. I think Bobasi, he had a shot that came off of the crossbar. I don't remember when that was. I think the 77th minute. Lucas Cini, academy product, he subbed on in the 82nd minute. 5 minutes later, he actually forced the save of the game out of the S2 keeper, a diving save to keep his shot out of the net. So, you know, he came very close to equalizing and stealing some points there. And then also another academy product, Carlos Anguiano, he did very, very well. He had a sub on in the first half for Terrell Lowe, who came off for make sure he didn't have a concussion. And he was doing very well with his passing in the midfield. Did not look out of place at all at this level. And, you know, kids like a 16, 17-year-old academy midfielder looks great. And with Anguiano, with Cini coming out and performing so well, with previous academy products, you know, Langsdorff and Farfan getting first-team contracts, you can finally see how the academy is beginning to produce. It's taken 5 years, but I think we're finally starting to see the results. And I think throughout this season, we'll probably see more of players like Cini and Anguiano. And the more that we see them, the more they prove themselves. I think the more people are going to get excited about, you know, hey, we have an academy and we actually have some decent players coming out of the academy.
There'll be some matches coming up as well that I think these players will have an opportunity to where their hard work will pay off. I think it's like you say, it's kind of hard to, on your opening match, to go up to your quote unquote, you know, Cascadia rival and try to perform and pull a win out of that situation. It wasn't always going to be a loss, but we're hard pressed to guarantee a win, like you suspected on the USL show, and anyone worth their salt would have bet against T2 going up there for that. But you know, S2 is not the best team in our conference, not by a long shot, but it's a hard match to expect much out of. But there'll be some home matches. There's going to be some other teams that, as the season progresses, I think we'll see these players put in performances. I think we'll get some results out of this that we might not have seen last year. Maybe it's a new mentality under a new head coach. Maybe it's academy products that are new to us and are getting an opportunity to shine. Maybe it's a mix of having some USL veterans come in and compete for time with the young players. It's a little bit of all of these things, and it gives you hope for the season.
It does, and I think a big thing is, with all the opportunities, there's 31 more games, 33 more games. I can't remember how many games there were this season, whether it's 32 or 34 total. But it's only the first game. It's an away match. I'm sure it was a difficult place to play because they actually had so many fans there. It was a new stadium. I don't think T2's never been there before. There's a lot of things that make the away games more difficult. And despite all of that, T2 played extremely well. Maybe not like excuse me. Maybe not like the best team in USL. Certainly not the best team in USL. But compared to what we've seen of years past of versions of T2, they played easily like the most competent version of a second team that I think we have seen since their inception, which in and of itself is high praise. But I'm trying to temper that with the fact that they are still not even remotely the best team in USL, but certainly better than they ever have been before. Or at least they were showing like, hey, we're taking this seriously. We're out here to win. We're actually performing like a team. We're making our passes like a team. There were certainly players that stood out, but overall, like all the guys, I think they knew what they were doing. It looked like they were actually out there to play some soccer, and it showed. And it did not show on the scoreline, unfortunately. But again, just one game. It's an away game. They have lots more games to prove themselves, and we'll see how all that works out throughout 2018. So with that, players that I wanted to highlight specifically, Modou Jadama, we had signed from. Well, I think we just signed. I don't know if we signed him directly from Tulsa, but last season he spent. I think he started every game for the Tulsa Roughnecks. Signed to the first team, so he was one of only two players loaned down, and so you have here a defender who spent the entire last season in USL, playing strictly for a USL independent side. So that alone puts a defender, a center back out there who has USL experience. That's probably a big improvement, just that alone across that back line. Now you also have new addition Jimmy Mulligan, as I was talking about earlier. He previously played for Gio Savarese at Cosmos. Now he was very active on the right side. He provided the assist to the only goal that we scored, but also gave up the PK. So a little active on both sides for both teams, you could say. And with Jimmy Mulligan, I think he was added the day before the season started on the 15th. So even though T2 was adding some players a little bit earlier, they still had their kind of typical right before this kickoff. Here's a player or a player two we're gonna add. They added defender Jimmy Mulligan and goalkeeper Austin Pack. Pack played for Puerto Rico in the NASL, and Mulligan played for the Cosmos in the NASL. So it's really just kind of a matter of here's a league that pour one out. They don't exist anymore and probably won't ever exist again in their current form. So all these players need someplace to play. So you can have these USL sides picking up some half decent talent. But with Jimmy Mulligan, he's 26 years old, but he's got lots of good experience at playing at the NASL and for a very good New York Cosmos teams. made 69 appearances, 63 starts. He's had a goal under Savarese playing there. He helped him claim back-to-back NASL championships in 15 and 16. He joined Swope Park Rangers on loan for the 16 USL season. So even then he has the USL experience, even though it's, like a half season, I think, played 17 matches, and pardon me, still trying to get over this cold. He a little bit older, I think the average age of the team, I haven't looked at it, but it has gone up, but you're getting these players that are still mid-20s, but have lots of experience. Whether it's NASL or USL, they've got professional experience, and it seems to be that they're bringing it to T2 and improving the squad overall. At least their quality of play has certainly increased, and the product on the field that you can watch is a lot more appealing to the eye, causing much fewer, please stab my eyes, I don't want to watch this anymore, type of reactions like we saw in 2017.
Question for you. T2 acquired Derrickson Vuelto shortly before our first match. And it looked like we probably could have used a little bit of firepower in the second half of our match against S2. Do we know if there's any reason? One, is it just me, or did we not see Derrickson? And also, if we did not see Derrickson, are we waiting for a visa? Are we waiting for any type of legal approval? What's up with that?
Oh, yeah, we're just currently waiting for Derrickson and Marvin Loria to join the team. They were not yet approved to play. They were waiting for the ITC International Transfer Certificates to come in and getting those player visas processed so they can join the team. I don't know if we'll see them this weekend, but it's obviously far more likely to see them this Saturday against the Switchbacks as opposed to last Saturday when they didn't have their paperwork in. So, yeah, it's just a matter of paperwork. No one's injured. They just haven't gotten that paperwork in. Now, since we're on that topic, another reason why we didn't see any first-team loanees except for Jadama and Ibabasi was because supposedly, rumor is Savarese kept everyone back in Portland, every first-team player almost, obviously except for Jadama and Ibabasi, and kind of played a closed-door scrimmage between the teams, between all the first-team players, and was kind of like, play for your position. Supposedly.
It's like the Hunger Games for Gio. He's trying to keep everybody feeling like they have a shot at a position and playing a lot of giving everyone a lot of opportunity to fight for that. So that's awesome. I from what I'm hearing, from preseason on, it's just the practices and the atmosphere in the first team is a lot different than it was in the past. Not meant to disparage and remark for the last head coach of the first team, but the new head coach definitely does play the kids, and he at the very least gives them a chance to fight for that opportunity. I think that's awesome, and that gives me hope that we'll see some of these younger guys, these academy guys, get into T2, and some of these T2 guys get into the first team sooner than maybe we could have expected in past iterations of the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it also brings another point to the result is, T2 played so well, and they played with, almost strictly T2 and academy players. Carlos Aguiano had to play over 60 minutes. Lucasini played about 10 minutes. And the people on the bench were only academy players. That's all they had were academy players on the bench, and so everybody else in the team was a T2 player except for the two first team loanees, and they played very well. And so what you had strictly T2 players go up to S2 and play very well and almost get something out of the match. They probably deserved a draw. I think a draw would have been deserved had they put some of their second half shots on frame better. I think T2 outshot S2 both in total shots, but we're way off on the convert, like just being like, if you keep them on frame, and then if you can't get them on frame, well, you can't really test the keeper too well and try to get some of those in. But some of that stuff like can be resolved by Derrickson coming in, or maybe getting Langsdorff loaned down. Anything. There's lots of attacking talent, whether it's getting some of the international players in their paperwork process, getting some first team loanees. I really think T2 is going to do well this year. Mid-table. I mean, hopefully, I'm thinking mid-table, but we'll see how it goes. I don't want to get my hopes up too much based on one game, but I also don't want to get downtrodden on one game going, oh, it's the same old T2. They're just going to lose everything. So, last season that was the case, but this season, based on how I saw them play, I think that they're going to do a lot better.
Yeah. So you had briefly mentioned our upcoming away match to Switchbacks on Saturday.
Yep.
I know we're only one match in, and I'm not going to read the entire standings. And it doesn't really matter that much. Portland are, just because of the one match in and one loss, are around the bottom. And the Colorado Switchbacks, one match in and one win, are right around the top. So they had a nice, I think it was a 2-0 win at home. They opened up at home, and then they have they host T2 this Saturday at 5 p.m. at Widener Field. So they'll have a kind of a back-to-back home start. Should be comfortable for them. Again, at altitude, this was something we spoke about at length last year. It's difficult for any team to go to Colorado, whether it's playing against the Rapids or if it's playing against the Switchbacks, or if it's pointy ball gridiron going up there and playing against some of those football teams up there. It's kind of hard to go up and be competitive for the duration of an athletic competition. So I don't have high expectations for T2 to go to Colorado and pull out anything spectacular. But again, just speaking on last year, even when things didn't look great for T2 last year, they were able to go to Colorado and get a result when we didn't expect it. So altitude is a problem because of the thin air, but the sport being what it is, you never know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So like you were mentioning, Colorado Switchbacks, they won at home against LA Galaxy 2. It was a 2-0 win, and probably should have, the scoreline is a little bit humble to how it was played, because it seems like, from what I saw, the Switchbacks controlled basically the entire match. They led 15-4 on total shots, 5-1 on shots on target. So it was, LA had almost nothing going forward. 3,000 people in attendance. Colorado led in possession. They got a goal in the 25th minute. They got converted a PK in the 55th minute. They pretty much dominated that match. So you're absolutely right. Like, I'm not expecting much of anything. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the game with excitement because I'm interested to see how T2 can do. If they can continue to play like they played against S2, then even if the results don't go their way, it's going to look like some good soccer. Because it really seems like T2 is actually doing a better job of trying to play the way Savarese wants to play, as far as being able to work the high press. T2 seemed to be more committed to that than the first team was in the first two games. I know that our first team's first game, they were committed and it didn't work out. And then the second game, they were a little bit less committed and it really didn't work out. T2, they felt committed and they seem to be doing a better job. And maybe it's just because of younger players, they're able to run around more. I think when you do play a high press game, it's benefits you to have youthful exuberance in your lineup to kind of cover some of that, what you want to do with that type of plan. So that's kind of what I want to see. Expectations are none. When I do my picks for the USL show this weekend, I will probably choose a Colorado victory. I don't know what the goal line is going to be. Picking goals is a little bit harder to do, obviously, but I do not expect T2 to win. Now, if we get a result, fantastic. If we get a victory, even better. But I'm going to watch and just see how T2 plays. Going to be keeping an eye out for players like, Lucas Cini, Carlos Anguiano, Modou Djama, Jimmy Mulligan, see if maybe they get any further. They will. T2 or the first team has an away game that same day, right? I believe Saturday they're going to be playing away in Dallas. So anybody who does not travel to Dallas will probably travel to Colorado with T2. I mean, maybe not everybody, but some of the teams. So I would expect T2 to get a couple of first team loans this time around for an actual, T2 with loanees match. And it'd just be interesting to see how well they shape up against Switchbacks, because it'll be a much better measuring stick to see how T2 plays against Colorado than it was to see T2 play against S2, because S2 are they're kind of like T2. They're far, far, far from the best team in the USL. Now, Colorado is one of the teams in the Western Conference that will almost certainly make the playoffs and probably be in the top half of that. Probably ending in 4th or 5th place in the Western Conference. So they're going to be a legitimately good team, and that's going to be a very good measuring stick to see how T2 plays. And it doesn't really get easier for T2 after that, because like the first team, they are going to be, doing 5 road games, and, outside of Seattle 2, you've got to go to Colorado Springs. They're going to be a really hard team to beat. Real Monarchs after that is going to be another hard team to beat. Tulsa Roughnecks, and then Oklahoma City Energy after that. So you're going to have a little Oklahoma roundabout at the end of that road trip. Both of those teams are not teams to be sleeping on. You're going to want to make sure you stay focused on them. Those two teams, where they end up in the Western Conference at the end of the season is you'd probably be easier to just kind of guess to see where they're gonna end up. They're probably going to be mid-table teams, but top of the mid-table, one or both could very well make the playoffs. So those two teams are going to be, still difficult, but I mean, you could potentially get results there. Either way, you don't want to sleep on them, don't want to take advantage or underestimate the Oklahoma opponents there. And then we'll come back home in April, Merlo Field facing Rio Grande Valley, and I feel confident that might be a good win right there. It'll be nice to get some points, to bring home some points from the road trip, but it's USL, it's T2, so if we come back 0 for 5, don't panic. I'm not going to feel too bad. As long as T2 continue to play the way that I saw them play against S2, I will at least know that they're doing a good job.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching a few of the remaining away games, but definitely got the dates circled on my calendar for when T2 come back to play at Merlo. I miss the pizza. I miss the atmosphere. And, hopefully we get some nice weather. It'd be nice to sit outside with you and maybe record live. I don't know. We've done that once or twice. I think we could do it again. It'd be great.
Certainly. Yeah, we have done it twice, haven't we? Yeah, we'll do something like that for sure. Anything else you'd want to talk about? Switchbacks, they are coming. This game will be this Saturday, the 24th, 5 p.m. kickoff at Widener Field, way up, over a mile up. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to feel good about it just to watch T2 play. Mm-hmm. Because I've kind of got that renewed interest, the vigor, the excitement. Like, hey, T2 doesn't actually suck.
Yeah.
Just to watch.
Yeah.
Again, but I'm not expecting any result though. But I'm gonna watch them with the mindset that, hey, they don't suck anymore. This is great.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I'm gonna definitely watch the match. I haven't had a chance to really break down teams in the USL West this year like I have in the past. I think he'll start paying a little bit more attention as now we're sort of getting into the season. So I'm not quite sure how they play, or if they've had any coaching changes or anything. So I look forward to maybe doing a little bit more investigating going forward, being a little bit more insightful about our opponents. But yeah, it'll be fun to, now that the season has started, it'll be fun to start watching some of these matches.
All right. Any fourth division soccer news you want to drop on people before we cut out?
I've got a few things. So USL PDL, the Northwest Conference, you've got the Timbers under 23s. They had their open tryouts recently. I'm not quite sure. They haven't made a whole handful of player announcements yet, but they do have their Vagabond Brewing preseason tournament. Starts on April 28th. And then they have a second matchup for that same tournament will be on May the 6th. So it'll be the Timbers under 23s will play, I believe, South Sound FC. And then PDX FC will play on the 28th against Tri-City Union FC. And then the winners and losers respectively will match up on May 6th. If you are a PDX FC fan or aspiring fan, I may have access to some tickets for you. So you can @ me on Twitter, either through the @PDXFC Twitter handle or through the @Joshua R. Duder. Either way, I can let you know about some available tickets for the preseason tournament. I know PDXFC may be dropping as we record on a Wednesday night. PDXFC may be dropping some season ticket information on a Thursday morning, and their Big Cartel website is up. So you might be looking for any season ticket information to be up and available by the time this podcast is available for you to listen to. I know FC Malouse in the PDSL, again, 4th Division Portland team, recently announced a handful of players, one of which was former, I believe, T2 player and definitely Timbers product Stephen Evans. And so if you were ever wondering where Stevie or Stephen Evans is playing, he played last year for PDXFC and then this year made the switch to FC Malouse Portland. So that'll be a point of contention as PDXFC and FCM Malouse sort of FCM Portland sort of build this budding rivalry between themselves. PDXFC announced a handful of players as well, a few of which were pretty interesting. They announced, Marcus Dickerson, which is a goalkeeper out of Los Angeles, but spent some time playing in the Norwegian lower leagues for Kongsvinger IL, as well as who else did they announced the re-signing of Sonimi Holiday, who is a center back, played at Rider University. Let's see, I've got a couple more. Let's see. Jerson Mejia is coming back. He played at Clark College and also is a Timbers under 23s product. Matt Payne is coming back as a forward. Played at Yavapai Community College. Played also at Concordia University. Brendan Weber plays center back. He's from Portland's own Central Catholic High School and currently plays for University of Portland Pilots. And then Blake Leonetti is coming back to PDXFC. He's a center midfielder. He's a Portland Timbers Academy product and currently plays for Utah Valley University. So, if the Portland Timbers Academy products can't find some time into T2, or they just need a little bit more development, you could actually find some of these Timbers Academy products and even former T2 players playing for the Black and Gold, or even playing for FCM Malouse. And then last but not least, on the fourth division front, opening day will be May 12th for PDXFC. They will be playing at Concordia University's Hilton Community Stadium, and they'll be welcoming last year's NPSL Northwest champions, Kitsap Pumas. Will be welcoming them to Portland. And Kitsap, I don't know if you know the history behind Kitsap Pumas, but their owner is a former minority owner of the Seattle Sounders. And so when the Sounders went to MLS, his portion of the USL team was bought out, and he went and took over Kitsap Pumas. And basically, I think that this is, aside from the Timber, or aside from PDXFC having sort of an in-town rivalry with FCM, I think Kitsap Pumas is going to be sort of that Cascadia, that bigger picture rival. They are the sort of the premier team in the Pacific Northwest NPSL. They have a very good history of winning. I think they used to play in the PDL, where they are a regular entry into the U.S. Open Cup, which is sort of the big carrot that's dangling at the fourth division. One of those things that, as an MLS team, you sort of take that first or second foray into the U.S. Open Cup every year for granted. You're not quite sure if you're going to play somebody before you get to the Sounders, but you eventually play the Sounders. Well, the Kitsap Pumas are another local team that can very well be a regional competition for either the Timbers or the Sounders in the U.S. Open Cup. And what Kitsap has is what PDXFC wants. So Kitsap will play their first Open Cup match on either the 8th or the 9th of May, and then they will come down to Portland on the 12th of May, and then they go back and they play either on the 15th or 16th of May in the second round if they win the first round. So it's a really good opportunity for PDXFC to catch Kitsap, when they're sort of stretched with 3 matches in a couple of weeks. So that'll be a fun opener. I'll give you some more information on that and tickets as we get closer to that. And I really am grateful for you giving me the time to talk about it, Kev.
Oh, absolutely. I think we should just be expecting every episode to have some fourth division soccer news towards the end.
Fast and furious.
Absolutely. So that'll be it for us. Again, T2 lost their first match, but they played very well. Showed some reasoning for actually being excited to watch T2 this season. They're going to be playing the Switchbacks this Saturday, the 24th, 5 p.m. Weidner Field, assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. Don't expect a result, but do watch it and be excited about T2 not being bad this season. We'll see how that goes. You can find us online, Twitter at PTK Podcast, at K McCamish PDX, and at Joshua R. Duder. You can find us on Facebook. You can find Josh on PDXFC. You can find me on StumptownFooty.com. You can also find me on the USL Show, at the USL Show and theuslshow.com. We are on the Beautiful Game Network. Lots of different podcasts to listen. Not just Play the Kids, not just USL Show, but check out Mon Goals. They do coverage for Pittsburgh Riverhounds, unused substitutes, and they cover Tampa Bay. Lots of good podcasts out there. The network keeps growing, so check it out. BGN.FM. Check it out. And also thanks to our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, official scarf supplier of MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. And then lastly, don't forget, check us out, playthekids.com. Subscribe using those links on our website for iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Anything else?
Last but not least, I'll be on the Roots Up podcast. I don't know if that's a Beautiful Game Network podcast yet, but they cover the lower leagues, those of which I love to speak about. And I'll be talking about the NPSL Pacific Northwest. So I'll give a full breakdown on the Roots Up podcast. Thanks for the chance to bump that show, and thanks for the chance to put myself out there.
Absolutely. And that'll be it for us. This episode will be out on Friday the 23rd, and our next episode will be out 2 Fridays after that. Everybody enjoy your beautiful, hopefully beautiful and not rainy weekend.